Have to agree. Siena College just not looking as proficient, especially with that Junkrat versus the May kind of composition coming through. Damage wasn't quite able to be funneled away towards Delaware. Delaware able to cope with it. And then once they've won that first fight, so much easier to keep them contained at the choke. Although we still could see a couple changes coming through.
Yeah, of course, there are always the possibility to see those changes, and I think again, we this is something that we say, or that I at least say often, and it is control maps like Busan and like Lijiang Tower. They have a kind of a default meta that you want to play in each sub map that we see. But as we move towards those hybrid and those assault maps, that it brings a possibility to see a little bit of the even or just playing to the strengths of each team. So maybe Siena, that wasn't really their strength, but we have to see what they can bring next in Iconwall.
Yeah, a little bit more of the neutral fight where both teams start off on the same level playing field. Literally, just might not be Siena's pace. You're absolutely right about that. And if seeing Siena maybe being a little bit more dedicated towards defense when it's defense time and offense when it's offense time
Yeah.
might fit their playstyle a little bit better. I'm certainly hoping we get to see a little bit of Farah on that first point and second point, I suppose. Eichenwald, we did see it a bit, I believe, if I'm thinking correctly, on downtown for Busan, but I'm not necessarily sure if that's indicative of what Eichenwald's going to look like.
Right, because Iconwall brings always so many possibilities. We always have the chance to see the Orisa and the Sigma, even that double shield that can work out for some teams. Definitely not my favorite, but it's absolutely a possibility. And even more of that Reinhardt that we've seen before, the six man that Delaware wanted to bring into downtown, which even though it wasn't really standard, they made it worked out really well.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think we're certainly going to have to check out what these teams are looking towards in the future as far as their compositions go. And as a reminder, folks, these two teams very well balanced in terms of wins and losses, not only with the wins equaling the losses, but also with these two teams equaling each other in that capacity. At one point, a team is going to surpass the other, and neither wants to be the lower spot on the totem pole.
Of course, if both of the teams really fighting to make that change to be the one coming up on top for this one, as everything on the table starts to settle a little bit more for what is going to happen with them next. So Delaware, they do have the advantage, but it doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. And I definitely want to see some surprises coming through for Siena on our next map that is going to be Iconwell. We already talked about it. Just to make it even, any surprises really can catch a team off guard. And of course, some of them don't really work, but it's the ability to make those changes, the ability to play many different heroes, especially many different DPS, that I think that makes the team the strongest.
Oh, I absolutely have to agree. And I'd say I'd want to see Sienna come through on Eichenwald, not just because of, I want Sienna to win, but I really want to see Junkertown. I want to see that potential fourth map come through. We talk about it a lot whenever Junkertown comes up. That first point being so good for those long sight lines. We don't often get to see those snipers come to fruition unless we see something like Gibraltar or Junkertown. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the change up we see coming here if we do go to that fourth map in the future.
That is what we have to see. But first, we got to see the second and third map to guarantee. And our second map is going to be this icon wall with already a surprise. There's going to be a Bastion coming in. I wonder what they're able to do with it, because a Bastion here towards the beginning, it can waste a lot of time for the attacking team. So it can definitely work. But the minute that you get taken down, the minute that you lose that first point, that is when you make the change.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, the second we see Pod 36,000 get taken off the field, they're going to switch to something either like a soldier or like a tracer, just something with a little bit more mobility if they're still
Right.
contesting that first point. Ultimately, going to decide if Delaware decides they want to contest with that high ground and the Bastion. Sometimes you see it on teams that aren't able to get those swaps as clean. Either way, we're going to be seeing this action go here. Sienna on the attack to start. CJ Paul once again taking up into those skies, and Nate 12 creeping around, having a bunch of debris just fall on them mid, I guess, weight, as now they try to go in, don't seem to have the opportunity to land any of those big combos, so they're just going to be back regrouping with their team, waiting for their opportunity to show. Doomfist, a very opportunistic hero as we look ahead. Hyper playing a little bit farther away from their team, but it seems to not bother Delaware so much as they're still getting these kills coming through here, but now Siena College has the opportunity to respond.
And we definitely see how close Delaware is trying to play everyone together on this double shield composition. Everyone playing together with this Bastion as well. That is the win condition for them more than any other ultimate. So far they made work. It was already a minute wasted.
So far, certainly doing its job of just buying time, and with Captain Kill taken down and Aced taken down, Delaware continues to build that gap in their favor. Pod not even staying in that turret form for the majority of their time. It feels like they're swapping fairly consistently between the two.
And look at how they're pushing forward. Is the confidence that we can see for the side of Delaware. They have ultimates to use. They have anything they can need for the next couple fights. Right now, Siena, all that they're waiting for is the Ana to give the ultimate or the nano to maybe one of the tanks and hoping to get something there.
Nate goes in, gets a lot of damage done, but hit by the accretion. Delaware doing a strong defense here. They do not want to let anybody off the hook for free.
Everyone getting taken down. Even when the Doomfist was playing so aggressive, almost got taken down. There's the feeling that the team had for this player. Just always there, always with that extra armor, with that extra healing that they needed just to keep the team alive. Siena College, though, they're stacking those ultimates for this fight.
Now, this might be the tipping point, the part where we see things get a little bit heavy, but with Pod getting an early kill, and Big Lenny following up with 2 more, things just going to be looking great for Delaware. Siena College now going to have everything in the bank, though.
That is how you initiate a fight. You know that the enemy team has the ult advantage, so you gotta use all those ultimates first. Just making sure that you're not using way too many, though. If you're Delaware, you just wasted 4 ultimates to guarantee a single fight. So now it's gonna be all about going back to the poking phase of this map. There's quite a lot of time to build those ultimates again still.
We're going to be seeing the Gravitic Flux go in. Set 3 able to start things off. Then a duplicate, then Dragons come through. A lot being invested from Siena, just trying to find that value. CJ Paul going to be having that self-destruct. Do they send it in? If so, it's a moment too late as Pod has already taken down 2. Self-destruct finds nothing. It's going to be the Echo sent back into her original form. Chase down Bastion, Diva, everything following her.
Burnout does get taken down, but should be able to come back to the rest of the team for this last fight. And it's because Siena has been taking so long to use those ultimates. I mean, the nano hasn't been used yet by Nourishment, sorry. And Siena College, even when they use so many ultimates, especially the tank ultimates on the last fight, it just didn't seem to be enough to get that close range that they wanted.
Nate going in immediately, but a nice sleep, a nice response coming in from Nourishment. So not necessarily using those abilities early on, but able to provide some sort of benefit for Siena College. But this Bastion providing perhaps just a bit more, tearing down the shields, and then CJ Paul in life.
The Bastion coming through. There's so much damage coming through for this here, but everyone going to push together. Bastion having ultimate. Last chance opportunity, but Siena College, they can't even get out of spawn.
Somebody's got to try to touch at this rate. 3 seconds left. CJ Paul's going to be making a dash for it. Doesn't seem like they'll have the speed, though. And now Delaware put themselves in a very good spot. 33% give them the victory.
The win condition, again, for the set of Delaware was to, number 1, play together, and number 2, maintain the distance between them and the enemy team. That is exactly what they were able to do. The minute they get close to the double shield composition, that is when things can get messy, so they didn't let that happen. They were getting kills from the distance with the self-destruct. They were also getting kills with Arisa just shooting from so far away along with Bastion. That is really all that you need to guarantee that control, that full defense that we saw from them.
And worth noting, Siena College, if my math is correct, unless there was something we didn't see at the very last moment of that replay, Nourishment and Life never used their ultimates. They had the Ana Nano boost. They had the Zenyatta Transcendence. We didn't see it come out once from them.
And that has to be so frustrating as well, because those are, at least the Nano, it is one of those ultimates that you're able to build the fastest, and that one of the strongest ultimates as well that we have in Overwatch is to initiate as any fight. Giving it to one of the tanks and ensuring a little bit more control, just knowing that the tank is going to stay alive for longer. But again, we didn't see that ultimate, and that is a crucial mistake the Siena College made. That didn't really guarantee even that extra confidence that you're able to get, knowing that you won't get taken down so fast.
See if the tempo perhaps changes up for Siena, if they can finally stop the flow of Delaware, although Delaware have been putting up a strong showing so far here today. Pod 36 going to be trying to creep around, see what kind of exposed areas they can find from Siena. Siena not deciding for such a stationary defense, instead going with the Mei Soldier. trying to provide a little bit more of that reliable defense and that sectioning off. Nate 12 is going to be taking a little bit of a nap guarded by their Ana for the time being. But it looks like Delaware already able to navigate their way slowly towards point. Siena not doing enough damage in order to get those kills delivered before the push comes through. Delaware continuing to try, and with CJ Paul going down, things might be looking a little bit more favorable. Savix still staying at a fairly healthy 500 HP, able to take down that Sigma. Now Siena College is just scraps trying to stay alive. Dryad doesn't look like they're going to be able to do it. It's all onto this Ori, getting booped around, punched in the face. Big Lenny cutting them down with the laser. That's going to be the 1/3 achieved, and just like that, Delaware takes their second map.
Siena College, they lost their Baptiste right into that fight, and there's nothing else that you can do. That is all the heals coming in. So University of Delaware already taking us match point with such a strong performance, especially on the defense. It was a 4 minutes that you have to hold this point to make sure that you don't get taken down. And I think we only saw them, their players get eliminated maybe twice. It was the Doomfist once, and it was, I think, actually Doomfist twice, but that was it. It was so much control from them. Even when they were in trouble, they were able to back up right into their positioning, making sure that they were staying alive. It really did everything for them.
Yeah, and I'm checking with our production team here. I'm just getting a little bit of statistical information. That match was barely over 5 minutes for both of these teams. So really goes to show you how firmly Delaware held and how well they were able to attack as well. I mean, taking it with, I believe that would be just about 1 minute and 7 seconds from that time bank, looking really good from that end.
They're just, again, you have a strong defense, you have a strong attack as well that only lasted a couple seconds, and those are the crazy time banks that you're able to get towards the end where there's no possibility for anything else. And it was because the the thing that was lacking for Siena there was that they couldn't get close enough to the point to put that pressure into the enemy team when they were attacking. Until where they recognize that, so that is exactly what they do right into the first fight. It is the DPS putting pressure into point and messing up with the composition of the defense, just guaranteeing that control to go their way right away.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty ironic, right? We see Delaware initially like to play farther back, but then they just are given so much space on their attack by Siena. They can just absolutely run in, charge ahead, and just get things done. However, we're going to give Siena a quick break. We will be taking it to a very brief intermission here, so stick around, folks. We will be right back with Siena versus Delaware. And quick as you like, folks, we are right on back. University of Delaware up 2-0 over Siena College as now we take a look at the lovely Hanamura.
I have to be worried really for the side of Siena College on this map. If we saw such a fast defense and attack for Delaware on a hybrid map, it is just building up to the possibility of seeing the exact same thing here. But actually, we're gonna start with the other way around. It's gonna be Siena College starting on this defensive side, looking at what they can do. And even though I do like this composition with the Reinhardt and the Saria, this rush, they can work out really well, especially just to hold the choke point. University of Delaware putting, just pushing forward, and even with the TP, that is so much control that you can take, and you deny the possibility of the rush to get the damage that they are expecting to get.
Pod going to be going in with this Bastion. Surprisingly, though, we're not going to see that Sim to get the teleportations through right quick, but it will put a lot of pressure onto Sethri's shield. So Sethri gonna have to try to avoid a lot of that choke angle, and Nourishment immediately going to be taken down. A great start for Delaware as they already take 3 out of the way. This is looking great for their first point capture. Nate 12 getting focused down a little bit by that Zarya. Ace able to provide a little bit of a reprieve, but nobody tells CJ Paul as they get thrown into a wall. Nate continuing to tear up on that Doomfist.
And I'm not really sure where Nourishment was, because this Ana got taken down immediately, and you lose so much healing from this player. There's no opportunity to recover right away. So that is the opening. And just looking at that, Delaware already going into second.
It's going to look like a potentially very fast turnaround, although with Delaware losing Savix, that means that they're not going to be able... Rather, Delaware is not going to be able to get too aggressive into this next fight without that regroup coming through. Nate 12 continuing to just fish for whatever opportunities they have.
Gonna be waiting for the Wrecking Ball to come back, just that everyone is able to push together. The Wrecking Ball putting that pressure from the backline, while the Bastion is going to put all the damage coming in. Just gonna be passing this corner though.
We already see Delaware starting to put some pressure onto that point. That means that now Siena has to rotate towards point, giving a little bit more free space towards that high ground that Pod's going to happily take possession of. Transcendence coming out from the Zenyatta on the low ground, not really going to matter, just keeping everybody down there alive a little bit longer. And already we're getting closer and closer to that first tick. Do find it, and Pod 36 going to be expecting that hog to come through. Eventually decides to just drop right down onto point, make things all that much harder for them to deal with. Zenyatta dangerously low, but nobody's there to clean them up. Life eventually taking down Burnout, but that's going to be about the only exchange they get. Death Blossom comes through with the Nano. Doesn't find too much. CJ Paul able to clean up the Bastion, and this might be a gasp of air for Siena College to try to come through. Captain Kill having to teleport off onto the high ground, go into that Wraith form, trying to find anything, and again, Delaware's been stalled out for at least a moment.
And that was the anti-nade. It was really all about the anti-nade denying the space that they wanted to get for a little bit. So Delaware is forced to play passive, loses a couple members, has to back up, and even waste their own nano, which is absolutely massive for them, again, to be able to push in. They're wearing Savix, who was the first one who got taken down early on, trying to keep it alive this time around.
Tubchub going to be receiving a huge hack, meaning that they just have to sit there and take a lot of damage or break that line of sight. The stun going on to Savix means they can't get as much with their pile driver, in an uncomfortable place for Sethri as they get pulled right on in towards that tight room, just putting them in such an uncomfortable spot. Somebody from Delaware has to get on to, somebody from Siena has to try to get onto point, hold out, but nobody can. Everybody torn asunder by the team from Delaware.
Only a 33% remaining towards the end, and University of Delaware, of course, they're able to make it happen with still quite a lot of time remaining. It seems like they were going to get this second point right away after the first one and potentially bring that snowball, but it got stopped right at the beginning by Siena College's Sombra. That was pretty effective, just taking down this Wrecking Ball who was being so disruptive in the backline. Gets denied the possibility, and University of Delaware has to regroup, try again and again until they make it happen. Still though, that is quite a lot of time, so Siena College now. Very curious what this team will be bringing next, just to have such a strong attack. It can be, University of Delaware, they've been bringing a Bastion, so at this point, I wouldn't be against Siena bringing up the exact same hero.
Well, the difficulty now is that Siena's going to have to try to do that on attack. Bastion not as great there, despite how Delaware is making it look. Siena still milling over the options they have, but they're not locking into that Bastion or even hovering it just yet.
Siena College, I wonder if they want to stay with the Sombra and those very slow heroes, because you're depending pretty much only on the EMP to get any value out of anything that you want to do, really. So if CJ Paul is not able to get the EMP fast enough, then that is going to delay the team so much to get their win condition here.
And look at Nate 12's ultimate charge already after just firing a few of those grenades, able to get it halfway there. Seth3 taken down immediately off the back end of the hook from Savix, and Delaware have already cut the ankles of Siena College. Gonna make it very hard to brawl out when you don't have that Roadhog, and Ace has to back up with shields up just to try to avoid it. Burnout even winning the fight against CJ Paul.
So far making it happen, but the question is for how long. Siena College has to regroup, tries to try again. They have Norseman on the loose here, which I definitely like a lot more than what we've seen before. But the possibility, having that speed, the possibility of going in, but it's gonna be all together in Siena College. They're losing members, but still trying to go in.
Certainly trying. They just seem like they do not want to give up pushing up into Delaware, but it's looking a little frazzled right now, a little haphazard, if you will. Hyper taking a kill out, going to be pulling CJ Paul off the battlefield, and Siena College just have not given themselves a moment to regroup and breathe.
CJ Paul getting taken down is only going to delay the EMP for way longer. Again, this is the one thing that they're trying to avoid. Two picks though. Good opening here. Hyper actually getting taken down, and the tire will be coming up as well, trying to balance things out.
We'll see if Nate can land it. They're going to be going in from the top turnbuckle on high ground. A nice shield block coming in from the Reinhardt, but Ace not able to save their support in kind. And just like that, they're finally getting through this choke point, but they don't have the backing of the rest of their team to really make it count.
Yeah, it was two picks going on, trying to get a couple more, but it got denied by that tire, with a really good positioning as well for University of Delaware, allowing the rest of the team to be able to come back, especially the Mercy to come back.
Pod 36,000 going to be going into that tank configuration, just firing shells away, even landing one onto CJ Paul. Nicely performed there. A lot of damage being put down towards Siena College, and the bullets just continue to rain, this time from literal high ground.
Able to take down that. Alright, definitely requires skill, and so this Bastion is able to show just that. It's going to be a couple more kills again, cleaning up the fight one by one. University of Delaware, that is what they're good at doing, and that is what they will continue to do. Siena College, you just have to regroup and even use that sound barrier aggressively to push past this choke point.
We've seen Siena hold on to ultimates a little bit too long in the past. Captain Kill going to be throwing in a decent proton barrier, but it's not going to be enough, especially to stop that gravitic flux coming in from Tubchub, who then puts a lot of hurt onto the Siena team. These pills just keep coming through from Nate 12, putting a lot of damage in and a lot of pressure onto Ace's shield. Eventually, Ace has to get buried into the ground. Siena College backing up. They use a couple of ultimates for very little effect.
The sound barrier had to be used defensively instead of instead of using it aggressively the way that they wanted to. And I also wasn't really a fan of the proton barrier that we saw for Siena College. With that, we're gonna see the change coming through. The soldier will be coming for this last fight. There's only 50 seconds remaining for Siena College.
And you have to wonder what Siena College can do to even defend against this tire that takes down two. Nate 12 able to get some immediate value for it, putting that soldier in a corner. And now with this, it's just a hog trying to whole hog their way out. 30 seconds left for Siena.
At least it was a little bit faster, but look at the confidence against Siena College being denied of any space as the enemy team is holding this spawn, not letting anyone pass this point. If there's no time remaining, you're just hoping for a miracle here.
We'll see if a miracle can happen, but it looks like Siena might be a little dry on prayers as we look ahead. Delaware continuing to press forward. Now Lucio Nourishment just trying to make their way to point, doing so successfully. Now just trying to keep themselves alive till that overtime ticks up. Eventually gets taken down, but did do their task of making sure that their team had the opportunity. Nobody will be able to pick up the overtime touch. Delaware will be coming up with a clean 3-0, not dropping, I believe, a single point.
Nope, nothing was lost for University of Delaware with a clean 3-0 that they're able to make happen. especially here towards the end. We saw all the dominance ult by ult. They have such a good communication that we don't often see. And even if we saw the scores between the two teams were the same, we definitely don't see the same skill level map after map, because it was all about Delaware and what they were able to do and how they were controlling each one of those maps and each one of those fights.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the control and pressure that Delaware had onto Siena, at times it didn't look like Siena knew whether to be aggressive and get a little bit looser with things, or play super defensively and just let themselves, I guess, be surrounded, not necessarily position-wise, but just in terms of mentally surrounded by Delaware. Either way, Siena College just not able to put the lid on it. Delaware going to be coming up 3-0 against this. Overall, an impressive game from Delaware.
Absolutely, looking so good. This team just being able to team control, playing different compositions, playing a bastion, and getting away with it. That is the confidence that this team had, pushing and putting the pressure right on the spawn door of the enemy team, which is something that we don't see happening very often because the matches happen to be a little bit closer. But this one was just all about Delaware.
It certainly was, and we're not quite done with Delaware just yet. We are going to be taking it to a brief intermission, folks, but we'll be right back grabbing a couple of words from one of the members, so stick around. Hello and welcome back, everyone. We are not just back, but we are back in the interview booth, and we're sitting here with Hyper, unable to use video at the moment, but still happy to have you, Hyper. Hello, welcome, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
And I just want to let you know personally that I will be billing your team for the medical bills for that whiplash, just from how fast that game was going. So you can expect it in the mail here, probably in 2 to 4 weeks. But in all seriousness, Hyper, you guys put on a brilliantly fast show. What was your mindset going up against Siena? Did you guys expect it to kind of be this quick pace for your team?
Yeah, I think we were expecting it to basically play out like this. We've been doing really well throughout scrims this week, and just overall we're improving a lot. So on some of these games, we expect to just come out, play really aggressive, and just quick 3-0 is always the goal.
All right.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about that Bastion. Because you guys brought it in more than one map. Just why?
Um, that's our DPS pod, and everybody else. I mean, Bastion is just a good time, and on nights like tonight where we're just feeling good, it's always good to get people on what they enjoy. Pod is probably one of the best Bastions, if not the best Bastion in the whole league. I'm just gonna say that now. He's kind of nuts
Okay.
at Bastion. And then everything we have just goes into helping him as much as we can.
Yeah, we definitely saw that happening multiple times. Like the entire team either pushing in or backing up when everyone needed to. And tell me, I'm just so curious about the DPS line. What about the Doomfist? Because I felt like in Eichenwald, the Doomfist was in trouble a couple times, just pushing forward. There was, of course, a lot of peeling going on for your team, but there were times where the Doomfist was not able to stay alive. Did you ever consider making a change there, or why do you like going with that Doomfist?
I think that's our DPS Nate 12. I think he likes the Doomfist a lot. Like, it's just a fun hero to play, especially on Eichenwald where you have all the roofs to slide on or rollouts to do. So a lot of it was just him doing his rollouts, and then our team comp was so slow without the Lucio, so it's just having to catch up to him and then pack him as much as I can as Brig or Rally or anything like that. But yeah, again, Doom is just a big comfort pick, and it's always fun to pick the good heroes.
All right. Well, I mean, good to pick the comfort heroes. Obviously, your gameplay didn't suffer from it, from picking what some people might call like try hard or sweaty heroes. So, overall, a great performance from you and your team. Hyper, do want to give you a big thanks for hopping in here, hanging out with us, answering just a few of our questions. And before I let you go, I always do give the opportunity for any shout outs. So, who do you got?
Right now, number one shout out is definitely our coach Edon. Just been helping us a lot lately. In and out of practice, he's great. Trolls me quite a bit sometimes when we're VOD reviewing and I make mistakes, which is always fun. But yeah, Hidon is the big shout out for today.
All right. Well, fantastic. Big shout out there. Thank you very much, Hyper, once again. And again, another big congratulations on your victory here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And with that, Dryad, we are about ready to wrap things up between Siena and University of Delaware. A fast game, but by all means, not our last game. We have two more coming up, so make sure you stick around, folks. More Overwatch action coming at you after the break.